I always thought that most of our friends are the ones that we grow up with or the ones who we meet in college or in university, but I've learned to understand that that's not really the case. I've definitely felt that it's not always easy to make friends. I've had my moments where I felt really lonely, especially when I was living in the Netherlands. I felt that I didn't really connect with anyone, and I was just experiencing life, but there was no real unique connections between people that I was meeting. First, I thought that this had to do a lot with the fact that I was older than most of the students, but then I realized that we were just not aligned with who we were as people. I feel that I'm quite easygoing, and I always try to be a part of a lot of events that I'm invited to, but during last couple of years I've definitely felt that I've made way more decisions based on my boundaries, where I have declined a lot of invitations just because I felt that I have not aligned with these people, and I felt that I can always go to these events, but what are they really bringing me? Is this going to be a memorable experience? And of course we cannot always know this in advance, so sometimes it's good to just go and experience it, but sometimes you can intuitively tell whether a situation or a friendship is not for you. After being surrounded by a lot of people in my, I would say, early 20s and maybe even early 30s, I started to realize that I was just accompanying a lot of people that were not aligning with me at all, and people who didn't share the same interest as I did. And I realized that that was the reason why most of my friendships and connections that I had were left on a very much on the surface level. I think we all need different types of relationships in our lives, and sometimes it means to only have acquaintances in some situations, and I don't think that we should totally just close ourselves from people just because we think we know who they are, or we think we know what they can bring or how they can elevate us in our lives. But sometimes it's good to still stay open towards meeting new people, even if you don't always feel like it. But I do think that if you have people in your life who you've known for years and you feel that your connections or friendships have not evolved in the direction that you've wished they would have, I feel that there might be a reason for it, where that connection is just not as deep of a connection as you wanted it to be. After I turned 32, I realized that a lot of the people that I knew, I wasn't really aligning with them. So I had a lot of people on the surface level that I went to have a coffee with, or maybe just go to a party with or something, but I started to realize that I didn't actually enjoy going to parties. I didn't actually enjoy spending my time always at a cafe, because I felt that it was always left on a surface level. Even if the discussion was good, I always felt that there was some sort of boundary that we were not stepping over, so our friendship was not really growing or evolving into something deeper. Because I feel that unique friendships and connections always require you to have separate views on things and be able to discuss those views, and also to understand and truly care for the other person, so understanding not to hurt them or speak ill about them in any way. And that is something that is not easily found nowadays. So trying to learn to know who you are as a person, and from there understand which people in your life that you already know now are closest to that which you see yourself to be. This was one way of distinguishing whether the people in my life were the ones that I wanted to continue igniting the connection that we had, or then to understand that maybe they truly were just acquaintances and I had to let them go. The interesting part in this was that I was able to really filter out the people that were not aligned with me, and which I felt that were not growing in the same pace as I was, but at the same time I was able to make new friends. It might feel that it's difficult to make new friends when you're older. It doesn't matter the age. I'm 35 at the moment, and I would say that I've made great friends in the last couple of years, and this required a couple of things from me. First thing was I needed to be more open. I understood that even if I'm intuitively deciding whether I want to go out or whether a specific event was worthy of my time, I still understood the difference of truly being in need for solitude and recharging my my energy, or whether I needed to really go out and meet new people at that specific time. But I only learned to distinguish the difference once I knew who I was and how I felt. So knowing yourself in meeting new people will automatically shift you in one direction or another, in which you understand who you are and what kind of people you are drawn to and who are also drawn to you. So yes, definitely being open towards going to different events. Sometimes we know that for instance, I'm not really a festival person. I don't go to festivals. I used to do it, but I understood that these events were just not for me, and I'd rather be in a smaller setting, or just to, if I want to see an artist, I would go straight to see that specific artist, because festivals I felt were energetically very draining. So for me, I stopped going to festivals, but it doesn't mean that I cannot still enjoy similar types of events if I'm invited to go there. But understanding where you can really blossom, like what environments are for you to blossom and be more in tune with yourself, because this way you will automatically attract new people into your life. This of course needs some shadow work and feeling whole in your body and with yourself when you are in social situations, and just really go over that social anxiety requires you to do a lot of mirror work. Maybe journaling and meditation definitely helped me to come out of my shell and understand that I'm not in competition with anyone in social situations, but I'm actually there to learn from them and to find new connections, real authentic connections with people who are in the same setting as I am. If I can really underline specific places or platforms where I've met new friends, I would say, first I would have to say studying at an older age. I went to study my bachelor degree when I was about 28, 29. Meeting people at a later age in your life was definitely not the easiest thing to do. This was a great opportunity for me to really meet people after becoming more aware of who I was and what I can offer in social situations. And after this, it became way more easier to meet with people and have authentic connections. And of course, sometimes those connections were not authentic, even if I was, or even if you are. So you are not always able to decide beforehand whether a connection will be authentic or really meaningful for you or not. You can always just show up as yourself and understand that the right people will find you interesting. But this requires a bit of courage, because not everyone will like you. There will be people who don't understand your humor. There will be people who don't always understand your interests or are not sharing your interests. But that doesn't matter. You can always still make new friends. Another thing that helped me to meet with new people and make new friends after I turned 30 was definitely social media. And I know it's not for everyone, and there is this assumption that social media is really on the surface level, but you can meet people without being an influencer. You can meet people through social media. That just requires you to be a bit more courageous, maybe, to contact people and to just honestly express how you feel, if you like their work. For example, a friend of mine who I met through Instagram was creating images of her daughter, and I remember really thinking I liked her images, so we started to follow each other, and after that we actually met each other, and that evolved into a friendship. It doesn't mean that it will happen with everyone, but just trying to be as honest and authentic as you can be, and compliment people that you meet. Complimenting people and pointing out the things that you like in them, I think, is a great way of creating authentic connections, because it always makes you feel good. If I honestly see something that I like, I will communicate it with the other person so the person knows specifically, because I feel there's not enough beauty in this world. So sharing how you feel, expressing it to others is very important. I know that sometimes reaching out to people might be painful, and specifically if we feel that we kind of burned some bridges and let some people out of our lives, I feel that those are the people who are not meant for us at all, and I feel that the right people will always stick to us. And instead I really invest in those relationships that I have with my family and with some close friends. I think that is way more important than having a lot of friends that you don't really feel connected to. After working on my self-esteem and social anxiety, I've learned to really communicate with people, let them know if I want to meet up with them, try to avoid resenting people for not reaching out to me, so I just instead reach out to them. Of course, if I feel that it's been multiple times where I've been the initiator, I then try to reevaluate the situation and maybe leave it to be for a bit and just to see whether the connection is something that we both want at that time in our life. Because there are friends who come into our lives but then they leave for a bit and maybe they come back. We don't have to ultimately always know the end result in everything, and specifically in friendships, relationships with people, we cannot always know in advance how it's gonna go, but we can just live in the moment and understand what can we do now to show that we care about this person. Whenever I think about my friends, I try to reach out. Even if we're not able to meet each other, I try to stay connected with people somehow. Feeling comfortable in your own skin, knowing who you are as a person, will just naturally, organically bring new people into your life, because people will be attracted to who you are. If you are insecure and you feel insecurity when you go out, not really feeling like yourself, this will always translate to other people. And we like to be around people who are themselves, who know their own value and can really express what they need. These are people who are usually very secure within themselves because they know who they are and they are not stressing out whether people like them or not. The root reason here is always working on ourselves, and the right people, right situations will always find us after we know who we are, because it's always an energy exchange. So who you are will always translate to the people, and they will then sense whether they are attracted to this energy or not. So just pay attention to that, and I think eventually the right people will find you. And of course, just go out there, meet new people, don't be afraid. I don't think that there is a person without social anxiety. I think everybody has it, even a little bit, but some just manage to hide it better. The more you start to know who you are, the more you can actually manage and master your social anxiety. And I think it starts to diminish because you don't put as much attention to it. Start to be in the present moment, and this way the anxiety kind of vanishes from your energy. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next week.